Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We will be starting shortly. The AMA starts in about 2 minutes. So, in the interim, just a reminder that this is an engaging AMA. So, please make sure to send your questions along so that we have some time to ask our speakers your questions. We will get started in 2 minutes. Hi, everyone, and thank you again for joining us for today's AMA. We are very excited for today's AMA session with Good Crypto alongside distinguished representatives from some of the leading crypto exchanges in the industry. So together, these industry experts will discuss the current trends, innovations, and challenges in the crypto trading world. So without further ado and delay, I introduce you to your host, Giovanni, to kick off today's AMA.
Thank you, Jessica. Welcome everyone to another Cointelegraph Live. So as Jessica was mentioning, today we're going to talk about the current state of crypto trading, the emerging trends, and the future developments of this field. And we have a bunch of very interesting guests today that represent the world of crypto trading. So before we jump into the discussion, I would like just to make a very short round of introductions. So could you please briefly introduce yourself and the project you are presenting? Andrew, you want to start? I think, Andrew, you are muted or we cannot really hear you. So maybe Nathan, you can go first. We can't really hear you, Nathan, either. So maybe Becky, do you want to kick it off?
Hi, yes, thank you for having me today. My name is Becky Sarwate, and I'm the head of communications at CX.io, which is a global crypto ecosystem and exchange that has been serving customers around the world for almost 10 years.
Thank you, Becky. And maybe next one would be Edward.
Thanks for hosting. Hi everyone, this is Edward. I'm currently heading the asset and commercial business unit from the Hobby Group. I think everybody know about us. Yeah, happy to meet everyone here. Thanks.
All right. I think we have Maxime Good Crypto in there. I can see you. Can you maybe introduce yourself? All right. And finally, I think we are missing Nathan from Bybit. Are you there? All right. I think we can continue the conversation. Actually, we can get it started. So for those who just joined us today, I want just to remind everyone that this is an interactive show. So please like the video, share it with your feed and with your friends. Sorry, not the video, but the Twitter space, so that people can share it with their audience, and also feel free to leave your comments below, and so that we can ask our experts about your questions, and they will be more than happy to answer those. So for those who just joined us, this is going to be a talk about current trends and challenges in the field of crypto. So as we saw in the last half a year, it was not the best time for crypto trading. As reported by exchanges and data aggregators, there was a fall in crypto trading activity, a 4-year low. And that's because largely regulatory pressure increased in the US, and a number of other factors. So it started looking a little bit better in June, especially for derivative trading. But here is my question for all of you. So how have you managed your exchanges, your platforms in such difficult situations? And what step have you taken to navigate in such a landscape? Maybe Becky could get it started.
Happy to do that. I think a couple of things are going on, and you rightfully, Giovanni, made a nod to sort of the evolving regulatory landscape, especially in the US, where I think things have definitely gotten more confusing in 2023. But I think the other thing that's kind of impacting what's happening in the space, and in one way this can be looked at as a good thing, is the growing synchronicity between TradFi and DeFi, right? Our fortunes, whether, some of us true believers like it or not, are fully linked these days. So as the global economy has suffered some hits post-pandemic and challenges in both the European and the US banking sector and other things like that, it's had a direct impact on the crypto space. But you're also quite right that confusion around the world, but I would argue perhaps most strongly in the US these days, is making it a challenge for crypto exchanges to figure out how to move. In answer to your question more directly, the ways we've navigated around this, for one, we are full believers that regulation is key to global crypto adoption. So we're ready, willing, and able always to engage regulators around the globe and in the US on solutions that will allow us to open this space safely, fairly, equitably to all users that are interested around the world. Secondarily, we have had to adopt this year a little bit of a country-by-country approach, right? So I know, for example, the title of this AMA is called the Crypto Trading Landscape. Well, right now in the US, crypto trading is not really a thing. In terms of what regulators appear to be willing to tolerate at this point, our services really aren't permeating farther other than direct buy and sell of various cryptos. We look forward to more clarity in the space so that perhaps we can further refine and expand these solutions. But that's some of what we've experienced this year to date.
Great, thanks, Becky. Maybe Edward, you want to give us your perspective on how you managed to navigate this complicated landscape?
I think it's a great question because everybody talking about the current environment, and to be frank, it's a little bit tough, especially from the centralized exchanges angle. We see the liquidity is sizing down, and we see a lot of major institutions, market makers, they be more cautious or be more conservative regarding the crypto asset trading and the market making. Yeah, so that's a bit tough situation for the whole market. And from the asset angle, we also see that, since the very beginning of this year, in the quarter one and quarter two, there's still some, popular topic still going around on the market. For example, in the ZK proven, AI relevant projects or infrastructures. But if you look at the quarter three right now, it's been quite, how do you say that? Quite cold. Everybody's only talking about infrastructure, but for others, especially from application layers, it's no proven, real proven user case alive so far. Even we see some interesting topic, but they can only last for very short time, like a friend tag, which everybody talked about recently, right? And maybe some kind of meme tokens or some social fi projects before. Yeah, so from the asset angle, it's also quite challenged from the supplier. So our solution for the current status, because we founded the platform since 2013, right? And we have go through this kind of circle for, I think, over 4 times. So we get some insight or get some experience. So the better way for us right now is, number one, we still focus on 100% focus on the investor or traders demandings. Even right now, the assets very limited, or the liquidity is very limited. Still, some other user behavior or user demanding is growing. For example, like the LSD files or some kind of staking or earning programs. That's number one. Number two, for a lot of arbitragers, they still wanted to find some potential opportunities, and retail client, they are more interested to follow the top inside KOLs, like the following tradings, all these types of things we can do. We can still trying to cover their demandings. That's number one. Number two, from the application layer, what we can see is there's still a lot of trend from the traditional world, which focus on the crypto payment and fiat on-ramp, off-ramp solutions, and also as well as some decentralized service. So we're trying to use our current platform to provide a bridge between these user scenarios to stimulate their demanding for the trading. So that's our current solution.
Thank you, Edward. And now we have another guest that just jumped into the discussion. Andy, could you please introduce yourself and your trading activity and how you managed to navigate these latest and complicated times in trading, in crypto trading? I think you're muted, Andy.
Sure, sorry. Hi, I'm Andy. I'm an advisor to Bybit, and then I take care of the sponsorship with Oracle Red Bull Racing. I think from our point of view, we never lose any sight of our goals. To be really honest about this, the current climate, I think years ago we would have already forecasted that the regulatory framework, regulatory clarity is going to be there. Bigger exchanges are all riding the wave to get themselves regulated and find themselves some home, right? So I think we, on our end, we have never lose sight of this. We want to keep ourselves in the regulatory frameworks. At the same time, the market itself is not great. And I do see a lot of my fellow friends in different crypto businesses, are kind of slacking behind, But on our end, to be again really candid, we have been pushing a lot of influencer marketing, trying to bring crypto to more people through various means that we have, on a global level. We talk to the different communities. We encourage them to come in and take a look. We encourage people to understand what crypto is all about, and that's what we have been doing. And honestly, in terms of the derivatives trading, I think right now we are top top second or third right now with about 9 billion worth of trading. In the last 24 hours. I think we might be in a less bullish time, but if you really look at the market, everybody is trying to build. Some people are trying to give up, but on our end, we are trying our best. We continue our sponsorship with Oracle Red Bull Racing. Honestly, we push a lot of different initiatives through collaboration with big brands. Like Red Bull Racing, and again, if you look at the market right now, many people say that is not great. Or maybe the NFT market is not great, for example. It really depends on what kind of products you have. So 3 weeks ago, we have launched a NFT called the Velocity Pass together with the Oracle Red Bull Racing team. We have so far, traded about 400, I think 300 to 400 Ethereum so far. I think however bullish the markets are or bearish the markets are, as long as you have a good product and you will always be on the right track. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. This is a very optimistic view in a complicated time for crypto trading. So another aspect that I want to touch upon is the topic of liquidity. So one of the main problems is that basically we are detecting a very low liquidity level in the last few months. So how do you ensure consistent liquidity on your platforms, especially when it comes to less popular trading pairs? Maybe we can go back to Becky. She wants to get her own point of view out.
Sure, happy to do that. Needless to say, given some of the regulatory actions that have taken place, specifically in the US this year, we've had to be very scrupulous in terms of what we offer in terms of trading pairs, and that's not only to do with liquidity. Any decision we make is ultimately with what is best for our users in terms of risk, in terms of offerings and solutions, and in terms of opportunities. So liquidity is one factor among many, including what is the state of affairs vis-a-vis regulatory temperatures in various regions. So I would say both of those things are things that we look at when it comes to whether we decide to bring on a new project for listing, discontinue one that maybe doesn't have the activity or the liquidity that we're talking about, in which case, right, it's not a good offering for our users. So I'd say, much as I answered the first questions, there's two or more factors at work in almost all of these areas that we're discussing in the crypto landscape. Complications for an industry that we strive to make simple.
Thank you. Maybe Edward, do you want to give us your perspective on this liquidity problem?
Yeah. So I mentioned a little bit about this during the first question. So number one, what we did is, we're trying to still how do you say that, stabilize the liquidity supporter metrics. Even there are a bunch of top level market maker, they are how do you say, they're sized down. What we did is we still be very aggressive to invite a lot of traditional market maker to join the industry. Try the crypto asset trading. That's number one. Number two, we concentrate the liquidity and the trading power for the key assets or key trading pairs, no matter for spot or derivatives. If we look at the current trend, majority of the altcoin is really tough. It's really tough. But for the meme tokens and blue chip is still there. And because we have a very strong asset research team, so we know how to find the trend and how to find the popularity, and we combine this popularity signal with the market maker operation, what we have done, so that we can let all the the liquidity power to concentrate, so that for these pairs we still have a very strong performance are very strong, standard, so that every single trader they can still trying to find the best price with us. If you look at the Huobi's market right now, the second thing, third one is we trying to provide more or take more responsibility right now, because we know that due to the FTX issue, a lot of institutional or API traders, they are a bit afraid, to put all the assets into the centralized exchange directly. So we provide a bunch of risk hygiene tools so that everybody can still have a very high level asset with us. So far, we provide, I think, one of the best OTC loan offer on the market. Second, we provide some, strategic partner support, resource support to the, the liquidity supporters who trade with us. So that would be the key solutions for the market maker supported side. And from the left clients or left counterparty side, we also do a bunch of job. But the main behavior or main actions will more focus on the asset, be a little bit similar as which Becky just mentioned. Yeah, thanks. So that's all our solution. Yeah.
And now, Maxime, do you want to add anything on this low liquidity problem? How does Good Crypto deal with it? For some reason, I cannot hear you. All right. For some reason, I cannot hear Maxime, but I guess we can move on to the next question, and perhaps later it will become we can get this technical problem solved. So I wanted to ask another question about listing. So listing new tokens. This is something that I was curious about. So how exactly do your platforms list new tokens or coins, and what criteria you adopt in order to select these tokens? So Becky, maybe you can give us your perspective on this one. I think Becky is also now on a listener mode, so perhaps when she comes back, she can give us her perspective. But now we can move to Edward. Edward, do you have anything to share about this?
For listing, yeah. Actually, I also be the head of listing for Huobi for almost 2 years. So for current market, I think it's quite interesting. We will still see some, similar phenomenon if we compare with the last round of the circle. But recently, I think due to the micro environment and also the lack of the liquidity, the support, or the life cycle of one popularity asset has become shorter. So if we see the history data, for the past 3 quarters, in the quarter one, everybody maybe talk about AI, right? Due to the open AI, how do you say that? Open AI cases, right? A lot of AI projects came out, a lot of and also due to the Ethereum fork and the standard upgrade, a lot of LSD projects came out. So it become a rather longer trend for almost 1 or 1.5 months. But if you go to the second quarter, the life cycle becomes shorter. The majority, the main trend which happened in quarter 2 will become the meme token, which happened from the whole community, like the PayPay, Ujaki, which the Bonk. We see a lot of cases happen, but life cycle becomes shorter, and why, a lot of people that ask me why this happened. On one side is because on the market is lack of new concept and lack of actually new application scenario be established. So that's why we can't create a very successful trend similar as the DeFi summer in 2020. But on the other hand, there's still a lot of money flow within the market, even it's an existing money flow market, trying to find the arbitrage opportunity. So that's why the Mimi token become one of the good choice for them. And still a lot of token factory, they are working really really hard even for now to find a chance to build a stronger projects. So that all these elements integrate together into the Mimi token trend. And in the quarter three right now, what do we see so far is some of very diversified topics, but no one can last for a longer time. The only one we think so far is successful will be the boat concept tokens, which will also be the first big exchanges to list, like the Uniboat. If everybody come to our market, you will see they do get around, I think, 5 to 10 times growth even for now. But this concept become less and less stronger. The only maybe 1 or 2 or 3 projects can survive for longer time, but for others the life cycle becomes shorter. So that's the key trend. But from a centralized exchanges strategy, we still trade this as one of the main solution for our platform growing, because we know derivatives definitely is good, right? We see very successful case from Bybit, OK, and even Binance, but derivatives always can also accelerate the loss of the users. The more users join the derivative, the more users will lose their money. But on the other hand, for spot trading, it's a very good complementary for centralized exchanges to bring new users. So that's why we focus a lot on the new token listing. And because so far we have 2 platforms on hand, we have Polynex, we have Huobi, so we do a very smart strategy setup, which we trade Huobi as the main bot, and we trade Polynex as an innovation area. So that's why we can cover all types of token on the market. And now we become, I think one of the most aggressive exchange power or party here to support all the new listing. And we still see a lot of opportunity here. Even the life cycle becomes short, then which means we have to become more aggressive or become more more faster. Yeah. Thanks.
Interesting. Thanks, Edward. Now I would like to hear Andy's perspective on this. Do you have anything to add about how Bybit is approaching token listing?
Yeah, I think the token listing process within Bybit is fairly strict, just to be very honest. We have gone through the checking of the project, through our business development people. We constantly, on a weekly basis, we have listing meetings just to get a good consensus, whether the project is good or not. And I think the other cool part about this is that, since we are in a position that is not that bad, we are not really that hard up, trying to get hold of as many listings as possible and collect a huge amount of listing fees, to bring projects on. In fact, we are not looking at listing fees, So with that kind of criteria in mind, we only look at projects who can actually bring in the right kind of audiences and the right kind of community. So if we have all these elements in place, the projects that comes in usually are not that bad, and usually they have a certain standard, if not, they will not be able to even, reach our platform. So that kind of mechanism in place would definitely be a lot more secure compared to exchanges who are just hunting for listing fees, right? So this is one difference from our end. And then whenever you talk about listing projects and so forth. And then you mentioned about liquidity. So as long as you are not listing those new tokens or those rather what we call shitcoin, then the liquidity can be a lot more palatable, and a lot more bigger and thicker, compared to many other exchanges. So again, with this model, it is a bit more foolproof. At the same time, because what we are trying to drive at are mainly from the derivative side of things. We have a good inflow of traders, and that traders also bring in good projects, and all these things will just complement each other, in the longer run. Anyway, this has been proven. We have gone through a couple of cycles, and we want to continue to do good work, within the whole crypto space. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. And yeah, we are all been into different cycles, so we know how to go through bad times, good times. But now I would like to check if Maxime is back with us and wants to share something about token listing on Good Crypto. Are you there, Maxime?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so on the topic of new exchange listings and kind of tying it back to the question of liquidity, so what we see now is we're an exchange aggregator, so we support 35 large decentralized exchanges, so we have a good kind of bird's eye view on things that as it happen. It seems that at least from traders' side, in times of low volatility, traders, especially traders using trading bots, tools like Grid or ZCA with thrive on volatility. They're looking for volatility, and volatility is historic, the historic lows together with with trading volumes. So basically, at least in Good Crypto, it seems that algo traders they see the new listings as the kind of pockets of volatility. So whenever a new token gets listed, usually at least for 3, 4, 5, 7 days, hopefully maybe a couple of weeks, the volatility is there. So a lot of algo traders kind of flock to each and every new token just to catch that volatility, being it up or down. If you're an algo trader, you're basically market neutral. You're okay with any. That's one kind of one perspective. The second perspective is the liquidity, unfortunately, is not at the levels that it used to be, and that relates to new token listings as well. So now, whenever a new token gets listed on maybe 5, 7, 10 exchanges within a couple of days, probably only 2 or 3 of them will have very good liquidity on the said token, and that leads to traders kind of, so to say, exchange shopping, right? So if you see a new token and you want to capitalize on the volatility that it provides, you still want to have decent liquidity to make sure that you don't have a lot of slippage. So the traders will just jump from exchange to exchange just to make sure that they're trading on the one that has their decent or better liquidity on the new token than other does. And that's kind of that's where we come in as a tool. So it's very easy to do within Good Crypto, but also I think that creates an interesting dynamic between the exchanges that I think they see that the exchange happen, so to say. Yeah.
Interesting. Now I would like just to touch upon another important topic, which is what happened with the FTX. So we all know that the FTX saga has definitely impacted the confidence in centralized exchanges. So I was wondering, what have you been doing in order to restore trust into the ecosystem and protect your customers? I see that Becky should be back. Do you want to share your perspective on this one?
Yes, I'm happy to do so. I think the whole FTX situation is really unfortunate for a number of reasons. Last year started off with the launch of the war in Ukraine and all the atrocities there, which certainly had an impact on crypto, although it had an opportunity to show its value too in the form of people fleeing for their lives, being able to access their assets in ways that TradFi was not necessarily accessible to those fleeing for safety. But, right around the time we had sort of gotten through that, and I don't want to say the war became normalized, but for lack of a better word, it somewhat did in the industry. There was a slew, and FTX was only the last of a few major companies, projects, and initiatives going belly up and leading to a big crisis in confidence. Perhaps not much for, the early adopters of crypto and the true believers, but I'd say a lot of what we at CIX called the crypto curious, they became a little jittery, and rightfully so. There was a lot of horror stories about bad situations that occurred with individual customers that suffered greatly at the hands of FTX, including some notable industry and Hollywood names. And then, we sort of normalized and got past the FTX situation when the year started with all sorts of craziness in the traditional banking space. So I would say FTX should not be looked at as a implosion or an event on its own. It definitely has to occupy its contextual places with things that bookended it both before and after. But all of those things led to heightened regulatory scrutiny, a lot of confusion. And so it's not even just, how do we bring in those crypto curious folks into the fold and let them know that, there are good actors out here that truly believe in crypto as a path to financial freedom and independence. And so some of the ways we're doing that is by telling our story, our founder story. We have been in the space for 10 years. Our CEO was a member of ghash.io, one of the first Bitcoin mining operations. And in fact, they had reached a place eventually many years ago where they stood to have almost 51% of that combined mining power. But because our CEO, Alex, is such a true believer in this space, he relinquished that for the good of, let's let that control and put it back where it belongs with the people. So we tell our founder story. We educate our customers and our global users, for free through our CEX University and other pieces of thought leadership we put out. We communicate changes we make in listings or in payment rails and explain not how they're good for us or good for the industry, but how they're good for the people, because that's who matters. That's who's going to bring us through to true global crypto adoption. It's not going to be any one company or one leader or one business. It's going to be the people demanding this. And I think, we've certainly been through some choppy waters this last year and a half, let's call it almost 2. But I really think, the cream is rising to the top in public opinion in terms of who are the right partners to seek out. And we're committed to continuing to tell those stories and provide that value.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that we really need companies that take care of their customers and they show transparency and they have an established history behind so that people can regain confidence in the ecosystem. And hopefully we are not too far from overcoming this period, this negative period. But I just wanna know now Andy's opinion about this. What do you think about this problem of trust and how to restore it?
I think honestly, trust is a really fragile word. It's not about what FTX has done or how the different projects rug pull and so forth. I think trust is a matter of how you prove yourself and how you gain that kind of respect within the organization. I love the fact that there's a founder story, but also at the same time, from our end, what we do is we walk the talk, right? If we want to protect our users, we get ourselves into a very strict listing regime, internally. If we want our customers to be happy and they want to feel safe, we will have sufficient customer service to service all these clients, who have some doubts and so forth. So that kind of response time would then also equate to trust, the kind of proof of reserves, for example, added an additional layer of trust. And then last but not least, a lot of our colleagues, the founders, the partners. We are all very publicly searchable. Everyone knows where we are, what we are trying to do. We give, constantly stepping out to give different speeches, to tell different stakeholders, including governments, including schools, including financial institutions, that we are here, and we are here to stay. I think that kind of move translates to trust in the longer term. And again, I think for that aspect, we are trying our best, and we are just doing what we can, on a daily basis.
Thank you, Andy. And is there anyone else who want to add something about this problem of trust and what solutions could be implemented to restore it?
I can maybe give our perspective, Good Crypto's perspective on that. So to us, obviously, the FTX debacle was a major event, and I totally agree with Becky. It wasn't an isolated event; it was a kind of one in a series of large events, and the consequences of those events, we are still, are dealing with them. Probably we're going to continue to deal with them for the foreseeable future. But in terms of retail crypto traders, the FTX was the biggest, I think, bad event in crypto since probably Mt. Gox, many years ago. And FTX being one of the leading exchanges, obviously, in terms of volume, especially in retail space, they were very big in retail. For example, in Good Crypto, they were number 2 in terms of trading volume when they collapsed. It has shaken the trust. Obviously, on one hand, it kind of brought us some maybe even good things. You can see some good things. For example, the proof of reserves were mentioned, and for better or worse, at least now we have this instrument, with its many drawbacks and shortcomings. But it's better to have it than not to have it. And obviously, before FTX, we didn't have it. Another thing is that I think FTX collapse did give a major boost to some other kind of pockets of crypto, and first and foremost, DeFi and DEXs, right? So at least in Good Crypto, we had a lot of traders saying that they would not, touch any centralized exchange with a 10-foot pole after the FTX. Maybe they were a bit harsh. Maybe they kind of softened a bit as the time passed. But obviously, those traders would never thought of moving to decentralized exchange before the FTX collapsed. Obviously, centralized exchanges are faster, the liquidity is better, the fees are lower. So why why bother? And the FTX kind of showed even the most active traders that there are benefits to being to control their own user funds and to move to DEXs. And that's, I think, from our perspective at least, that was one of the major things that the DEXs got major boost, especially DEXs that provide close to centralized exchange experience, maybe like not the AM DEXs, but things like the IDX and JMX and whatnot. But so we see this as a major trend, and obviously we as Good Crypto also kind of want to be there where our users are, and that led us to basically to starting to integrate all the decentralized exchanges as well, because we now understand that even for the most active, most demanding traders, DEXs is now one of the options they would actively pursue.
Yeah, for sure. A tendency towards a growing trend towards self-custody is probably one of the few positive outcomes of the FTX debacle. So that's good that you pointed it out. So yeah, moving forward, I just want to remind our audience, especially those who just joined today, that today we are having an amazing discussion about the current state of crypto trading, the future trends that are waiting for us, and how to overcome the complicated times that we have been navigating lately. And we have a lot of interesting guests, representatives of major exchanges with us. So yeah, we don't have so much time left for the discussion, but I'll try to touch upon the main topics. So I wanna ask you a question about how to address crypto beginners. So for people who just joined the crypto space, how do you make the crypto user experience easier for them? Becky, maybe you want to start with this.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Our global brand narrative is about simplicity, and we know that crypto is complex. But if you really want to welcome newcomers to the space, we have to limit the jargon and open the doors to shorten the learning curve. So I had mentioned already CX.io University, some of our thought leadership, other assets we put out there for free to try to enable people to grasp the basics quickly and free of kind of the techno speak that can be off-putting, so that they can really jump in and feel confident about immediately taking advantage of the various opportunities that really do exist in the space. Furthermore, education isn't just on, the basics of what is staking, what is, various crypto terms. It's also teaching them what opportunities do exist. I think a lot of people assume, right, that if they've heard nothing, I know if I asked one of my elderly uncles, they would assume we're all out here mining Bitcoins with hammers and nails. They don't fully understand what that means. So I think if you start to explain an exchange of a type like ours as like an Apple store, or, if you want to buy Bitcoin, there's no Bitcoin store. When I position us as a retail outlet for some of the things that these people have already heard of, that makes a lot more sense to them versus going into a 3 to 5 sentence techno speak about use cases and That doesn't speak to the common person who's just looking to get acquainted and develop a little bit of confidence so they're not missing out on opportunities they have a sense they should be taking advantage of.
Thank you, Becky. Maybe someone else want to add something on this, on how to make the experience easier for early users?
Yeah, I can chip in on that. So, from our perspective, I think centralized exchanges, they already do.
I think we lost Maxime, or at least I lost it. I cannot hear him anymore. So I think we can move on until we get him back. So I have a question for Andy now, because he is a representative of. No, actually, no. That was for Maxime. So this is a general question regarding AI. So I was just curious on how you use AI and machine learning to build trading bots or copy trading strategies, or for other features on your platform. So basically, if you use AI, how do you use it? Maybe Andy, can you address this one?
Yeah, sure. I think using AI for trading is no longer a stranger to many of our colleagues. So at Bybit we have our tools, GPT. We use that as a form of a reference. You could ask them a question. What should we trade? What could be the next trend? And then you could even ask things like, which are the coins that we could expect a 5% increase in the next 24 hours. They are available data for the AI to work on. And then since there are all this data to work on, we can actually give some of our users some form of reference before they even start to put in their positions, right? So I think that kind of tools are actually very useful, if it's inbuilt into a centralized exchange, because the previous question was about user experience and so forth, right? So I think user experience for first time users, coming to to a centralized exchange, you do not need to know about your private keys. You do not need to worry that your password is lost and so forth. As long as you choose the right kind of centralized exchange, they will provide the necessary customer service to support you, right? So this first barrier of entry is cleared. And then many of these new users do not understand the market too well, right? So the tools GPT, in our context, would then enhance the user's experience. They have at least a reference to fall back on, instead of just looking at what the influencers on Twitter is trying to say, right? So that tools itself is just going to help a lot, So that's a very simple example on my end. Thanks.
Yeah, and it's going to be very fascinating to see how AI and crypto can find synergies and basically bring forward innovation. And it's very exciting to see what's going to happen in the next few months on this. I think we are kind of running out of time. I think we have time for one more question. I just want to ask all of you, what is your vision for the next phase of innovation in crypto trading, and where do you see your exchange in that landscape? So anyone who wants to share his vision for the future?
I did want to say one thing. I know I've spent some time talking about the confusion in the U.S. regulatory space, and that does exist. But I also wanted to say we're absolutely not disinvesting in that region. And to that end, our applications for licensure across the good states continues, including licenses we just secured in both Louisiana and Arkansas. So when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and we are fully committed to the U.S. landscape because there's such a large amount of untapped opportunity there, both for businesses, but more importantly, the users who are wanting access and education around this space.
Sure, I will take on the second second one. Sorry, did I cut someone?
No, go forward. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's a bit laggy. So, my point of view, personal point of view is that I hope to see more tokenized products in the space. It could be a tokenized security. It could be a tokenized commodity. It could be a derivatives for shares, for example. I hope to see new products like this in our space. The pure reason is, that could then draw in more traditional players, the big players, into this whole crypto trading and crypto exchange business. That competitiveness and that larger range of product offering would definitely make us, go to the new heights, in years to come. Thanks.
Thank you, Andy. Now I see that Maxime is back on, so I think we can have a question for him. So I know that your project, Good Crypto, is working practically with all the guys that we have today in our session. So could you please elaborate on the benefits that your collaboration have brought to the users?
Sure. We do indeed support all the exchanges present today. Not only, right, as I mentioned, we support 35 centralized exchanges that I think more than any other multi-exchange terminal on the market. And basically, the benefits we bring to the users and to the exchanges as well are threefold. First, we provide, of course, exchange analytics, so you can actually, in real time, compare prices across exchanges. You can compare liquidity across exchanges. So, as I mentioned, for traders who are now looking for better liquidity, that's basically, that's a very, very useful thing to have. And second thing, we do provide trading tools that are not available natively on exchanges, but many traders are accustomed to, in traditional TradFi space, from advanced order types like trailing stops to DCA and grid trading bots to ability to trigger any order with trading webhooks. That's kind of that those tools work in the same way on all the exchanges. And that leads to another benefit is that we mentioned the FTX debacle, and one of the one of their consequences of that debacle is that now a lot of traders who still trade on DEXs, they are afraid to keep their funds at least in one DEX, so they tend to split them among several exchanges just for the sake of spreading the risks. And obviously, if you trade on several exchanges, it creates a lot of friction. And if you use Good Crypto, then with Good Crypto, you have the same trading interface, the same set of trading tools that works in the same way on all exchanges, and you can easily switch between your accounts on the several exchanges and trade there. And even for FTX users that were within our app, that was a very good thing in a way that those of them who still who didn't give up on crypto trading altogether when the FTX collapsed, they basically moved to other exchanges of your choice. Notably, I think at least can mention Bybit. At least in our app, it seems that most of the volume from FTX moved to Bybit, and for traders that use Good Crypto, it was a seamless process. Basically, they just moved their funds, and they still had the same trading interface, the same set of trading tools, and that I think kind of the biggest advantage we provide. And now that we add the centralized exchanges in the mix, will be truly an all-in-one app, and that I think for a trader, that's something that has a lot of value.
Thanks, Maxim. I have another question now, which is probably wrapping up the discussion. We talked about crypto beginners, so how you managed to onboard early users. Now I would like to relate to the more experienced audience. So how do your exchanges ensure that remain the first choice for experienced traders? Becky, you want to address this one?
Yep, absolutely. Right. So our message and our strategy is about meeting users where they are. So if you are a crypto newbie or a crypto curious, as I call it, we already discussed the ways that we reach out and develop connections there. But at the same time, a very experienced crypto trader or professional may not want or need as much hand-holding or contact from us. In which case, right, it really matters. Our product design is really the thing that matters most. And to that end, earlier this year, we replaced our legacy exchange with our new product, Exchange Plus, which is really an all-in-one crypto platform, which doesn't require that user to have to go anywhere else for information. We have trading view data on where markets are moving that day. We have a whole host of new features and buy and sell options that will be appealing to people who know what they're doing and don't need the hand-holding, but also offer an intuitive user interface and easy language for those who are still learning. So I think the upshot of what I'm saying here is you meet the customers where they are. And we know very well the experienced trader doesn't want 3 emails a week from us and all sorts of educational materials. They want to just get in, get out, do their business, and move on with their lives. And we're well prepared with our product design and various offerings to meet those folks where they are too.
Awesome. I think it's great when you're able to kind of provide 2 different approaches to 2 different type of audiences. So anyone else want to add their own perspective on how to keep the experienced traders on? Andy, I see that you raise your hand.
Yeah, sorry, there's some technical error on my end. I think having good relations with the traders would definitely keep them within the exchange. I'm not sure how the rest of the exchanges are looking at keeping all these experienced traders. Of course, the very fundamental of things is that the product's got to be good. We constantly get feedback from our traders, whether they are professional traders or they are newbie traders. We definitely try to get their feedback. But of course, the really professional ones who are doing a lot of trades on our platform, we take care of them just like how the private banks take care of their private clients. So with that kind of service and with that kind of attention that we bring to some of these VIP and professional traders, we keep them happy. They will continue to stay with us to make more trades. This is part and parcel of the whole competitiveness within this industry.
Absolutely. And now I think it's a good time to wrap up the discussion, but I would like to leave you an opportunity for anyone who wants to share any other additional thoughts on their future plans or any consideration in the current state of crypto trading, something that our audience should learn?
Yeah, if I may, I'll jump in and talk about our future plans and how I think that kind of they're also kind of showed where the industry is going, where the buck is going. So as I mentioned, we Good Crypto are now integrating DEXs in addition to centralized exchanges as well. And the reason for that is simple. More and more traders are moving to the decentralized exchanges and at least using them alongside centralized exchanges. And having said that, their DEXs are doing a good job on actually, in making sure that they are also develop and they evolve and they provide, they become more efficient and less cumbersome and cheaper to trade and with better liquidity. And if you look at their new protocols that, for example, for Uniswap X that is going to be launched soon, it has come a long way, from Uniswap version 2 or version 3 in many ways, in terms of simplicity, in terms of addressing the user experience issues, in terms of addressing the front-running problems, and so on and so forth. Also, another thing is that the DEXs are really picking up on L2 networks, right? So, and that's where I think at the end of the day, the most of their trading on decentralized exchanges is going to happen, because L2 networks, level 2 networks, they provide advantages, make sure that DEXs get as close to in experience to centralized exchanges as possible. The fees there, the gas fees are much lower, so they're comparable in many cases to what you have on centralized exchanges. The speed of execution and the price updates also are much faster there. So I think that's where the most of the industry growth is going to happen in the next couple of years. DEXs on level 2 blockchains, and that's where we at Good Crypto want to be in terms of our product development and bringing new features for users.
Yeah, I also look forward to a future when we're going to see these decentralized exchanges getting more and more into the mainstream, so that people can take custody of their assets, as the main ethos of crypto tells us to do. And yeah, I think this is a good time to wrap up the discussion, guys. So thanks a lot for participating, to everyone. Also, thanks to our audience for engaging, for listening. And I also encourage everyone to follow Cointelegraph on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Telegram, of course. Stay up to date to the latest crypto news. And yeah, see you next time on our next Cointelegraph Twitter space.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.